So if we talk about some things that come up now, when we go into data and we talk about how you're basically trying to, with what you're doing, get to the problem before it's even a problem, really like when it's real fresh, which I think is awesome. When you're looking at the reverse engineering here, basically the guys and the girls like myself who have previously been doing PPC is in a position where people are paying tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to find these keywords and these motivations, and then find a way to get somebody to find you, get on your site, click a button. So now you know that they have a problem that they're looking for help for, and now you can contact them, and you're paying a lot of money to do that. What I think is interesting is, as I was talking to you about what you're doing at Data Aviator, is you're basically even bypassing that and having the people before you're paying somebody tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to find you, you've basically already found them. And now you can contact them ahead of time, which I think is extremely interesting and very different. And on top of that, what I thought was interesting before we started talking was you're finding a way to do that. And when people go, well, Nick, what about AI? What about all this data that's now there with technology? You're using all your past experience to really pull together with the data and the AI technology to really get a head start or a cheat code on this whole process. So I find it very interesting, and I think you're very revolutionary in what you're doing. So talk a little bit about, if we have all these problems now where we have to find the right people at the right time with the right motion, with the right probability, and we don't want to compete with all these other people. How are you now putting people in a position where they can kind of bypass that and have an advanced edge against their competition?
Yeah, so all that stuff that you talked about just there and what I'm going to mention in a second is all stuff that you guys don't need to worry about, right? All we need to know is what the audience is. We call it an audience. Like, what audience are we looking for? Well, we're looking for motivated sellers that want to sell their home fast, that may list a property, they may sell it for cash, and I need them in the Chicago area or Cook County or whatever it is. That's the avatar, right? Then we run all the data. So look at it like this. It's all a bunch of ingredients, okay? So there's a couple things. I can have 50 ingredients, okay? Let's just say we're bakers, okay? We're just going to bake something. I can have 50 ingredients and we can make 16 different dishes with the ingredients. And it's a combination of what ingredients go into that recipe to finish the product, right? We're the baker here, okay? And not only are we the bakers, we obviously need to know what we're making, which is the avatar, the audience, building that out. But we also need to know what order they go in, right? Because if I'm baking a cake and it calls for 2 eggs, and I don't understand how to have a recipe to build it, I do everything to make the cake. I put it in the oven, and the last thing I do when I finish the cake is take the 2 eggs and put it on top of the cake. That's not a good cake. A horrible cake. So it's a process and a system. That's why online data to offline data, all the stuff that runs in the background through technology and AI and all that stuff all happens through the data. Okay. The finished good, the cake is the data that's served up to you as the consumer, the small business owner, agent, wholesaler, whatever. So we're not going to teach you how to bake the cake. We're not going to even tell you really what ingredients are going in it. We're just going to say, you want a cake. This is the cake you want. Here's the cake. And it'll be the best cake based on what you tell us that you want. I don't know if that answered the question or not. I may got off on a little bit of tangent, but I'm trying to simplify it. I don't need to know how to do any of this. That's what we do. You just need to know what you want. Like, if you can know what you want from an audience perspective, that's what we can do. We can build you and bake you that cake based on what your preferences are. And that's it. And it's a lot cheaper to have somebody else bake it for you or build it for you than it is trying to do it yourself, because the time value of money, how much the energy, the time, the money, all that stuff goes away, because we're dealing with, at the end of the day, this is the bottom line. We are dealing with real time, seller initiated, high intent data. So let me say that again. Real time, meaning now, seller initiated, the seller raised their hand and said, hey, I'm looking to potentially sell my house, not me reaching out and asking you if you want to sell your house. Big difference. I'd rather you come to me and say that you're looking to sell your house than me asking if you want to sell your house. And it's high intent. The high intent is the fact that you said that I want to sell my house. When you take those ingredients and you put it all together, and then you take that and then we append that data and we go do other cool stuff with, skip tracing and email verification and social media accounts and building all that back into the data set. It just gives you a higher quality product that you can go out after. And how you go and attack it is strictly up to you.
That's awesome. So one of the things you said was real time, and I think a part of what people get with these lists are they come out based on public data for like legal stuff. Hey, this just got triggered. This person just filed this. What you're doing now is before that legal action actually triggers everything that they start calling, from what I was seeing, you could literally do it within a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. You can set that timeline for like this person raised their hand or did a search 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago, and really get like, when you say real time, it's like
Yeah.
up to date, not stuff that maybe 100 people have called or they already fixed their situation, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, we'll be able to pull, like if somebody goes on right now and says, sell my house fast, and they're in Dallas, Texas, for example, we will be able to find that, identify that, extract it, and then append all that data based on the algorithms and AI and other technologies that produce the finished product, which is the data output.